Hello everyone and welcome to Slipjoint Sawyer. Now today we're going to be talking about this knife here. Now this is the legendary Buck 112. I've got many iterations of this in my collection, this being the earliest. I believe it's sort of mid to early 70s. We'll go through some reasons why I think that may be, but if I'm wrong, please let me know in the comments below. I'm not any sort of historian on Buck, I just love them, especially the 112. I think it is absolutely superb. But we're going to go through some of the reasons why I feel that every sort of collector should have a 112 and why you should be collecting these different iterations of it, because they're all fantastic in their own rights. So stick with me, we'll go through some different ones in my collection, why I like them, the sort of specs about them, and just general all-round use and what they're good for. So let's jump right into it. The Buck 112 Ranger. Now this came about in the early sort of 70s. I believe it was released in 1972 as a smaller alternative to the very popular Buck 110. Now this was sort of introduced because there was a fight on the USS Ranger, which is a Navy ship, and someone got very sort of badly injured with a 110 because the blade is very large. Now on this one it was designed to have a blade sort of 3 inches or less, because it seems to think that you could do a lot less damage with that, but I'm pretty sure you could do quite a bit of damage with whatever size the blade was. But they introduced this and then they named it after the aircraft carrier, which is really cool, hence the name the Buck 112 Ranger as opposed to the folding hunter for the 110. Now as you saw at the very start of the video, this is my earliest example. It is the square bolstered with ebony. You have the 2 pins and no dots on the tang, and you can see Buck 112 USA. Now I have done some research online and I believe this is one of the earliest ones. I think does put it around that sort of mid to early 70s sort of time frame. But if anyone knows any more information about it, I'd love to know. And the reason I love this one in particular, the sheath is superb. It's slightly different to the modern day sheath, and there's no nail nick because it's not really needed on this knife, because there's enough blade there. You can just pinch it open, snap it up. So that's the first one in my collection, and I really do believe this is far superior to other sort of folding and locking knives, and even more superior to modern locking knives, purely for the tradition about it alone. So that is the 112 from the sort of 70s period. And you can see how the design changed up to a modern day 112. Now this one is from 92 based on the tang stamp, but it's not really changed since then, maybe the steel. But you can see how the corners are chamfered off on this one and rounded over. And you can see you've got the extra pin holding the covers on. But apart from that, there isn't really any just design change, apart from a nail nick's added, the more, machine done blade, the tangs change, but the size is the same. The blade shape is still a clip point blade. But honestly, without that nail nick, I think it looks fantastic. Now this one I bought because I'm trying to find myself a birth year 112, which would be 91. Saw this 92 come up, I'd had to jump on it because it was close enough for me. I will eventually get a 91, but for now this is the placeholder and my favourite Buck to use, especially if I want to use a brass one. I've got a couple others we'll go through as well. Look at the stamp on this one. You can see you've got the 1 line, and I believe a 2nd line was added on the left hand side when they changed the steel to 420. I believe this is the 425, but really nice edge. I did add a sharpening choil on this because it makes it a little bit easier for me to sharpen. But again, fantastically comfortable in the hand. I mean, if anyone's not familiar with the size of a 112, we are at, let's get it right on there, 4 inches with, well, a 3-inch blade. So pretty much that 4 to 3, 7 inches open, but it's just absolutely fantastic. I'm a massive fan. This one is perfectly built, beautiful ebony on there as well. As you can see, this one does get used. The brass is all tarnished up. And from there, they started going a bit, changing things up a bit. They started trying different modern materials. So we have, this is the basic one. This is the slim. They did have a thumb stud, which I took off because it was just really wide and protruded past the handles. But this, one of these knives, was my go-to work knife for many years when I used to work in my old job. It was fantastic, 420 HC, Older, I think that's a 24 tang stamp, that sort of Z, I think. But yeah, slightly different drop point blade or clip point blade, you'll notice, to the more traditional one. See, it's more of a modern style, less clip, well, more clipped but less upswept. But for me, that makes it a much more user-friendly knife. Now, this normally comes with a pocket clip. I tend to pocket drop this one just because it's so thin, and with those sort of FRN scales, it makes it really easy to carry. And again, you don't need the thumb stud to open it one-handed. You can do it very easily. But that is the 112 Slim. Beautiful knife, still pinned, but you do get some screws for the pocket clip. Another one we have from earlier on, this is the 112 EcoLite. And this is one of the coolest ones I have, because this is before they started really doing using micarta and things like that. I believe this is made of recycled paper, sort of compressed. And I did look up the name before I started this video, and obviously since I started press record, I've completely forgotten. But you can see where they've contoured it out here, got a buck shield on here, it's beautifully pinned, but it was designed to be made from recycled materials, so it's very eco-friendly. You can see the liners are cut out because this is very strong. And honestly, it might not look it, but it's very comfortable in the hand. This, I believe, has the 420 HC steel, but it's just fantastic. I mean, you can see the different layers there where they've cut it out. I believe it's steel pins on this, pinned up here as well, and you get that beautiful clip point blade that you get on the standard 112 as well. Now, this would be perfect for anyone that wants a 112 with the thickness, but they want to keep it as light as possible. Now, unfortunately, this model is discontinued, which is a massive shame because it is superb. I mean, look at that. Tang is pretty much hidden by that up there. Nice and chunky. If you're wearing gloves, it's not going to cause you any issues. Sometimes you get with the slimmer ones, they're hard to hold on to, but this, you're not going to get it. But if you can come across one of these, I would definitely go picking it up because they don't come up for sale very often. I was very lucky with this one, found it an absolute bargain online. But just another one of the really cool versions of the 112. And then from there, you can go sort of towards their ultra modern. I want to say, I don't have the Sport Pro. It's quite expensive, that one, and it's, you know, I'm not sure on it. But this is the SlimPro TRX. You got the, is this micarta? I can't remember if it's micarta or G10. I think it might be G10. You can see it's etched. You've got the big black thumb studs, which are a little thick for me, but I've left them on there because it makes sense for this knife. And this comes in S30V with the Poor Boss heat treat, so that's going to last a long time. And this thing has taken an absolute beating. Whenever I go to sort of the churchyard or to do my sort of volunteering work, I do a lot of grounds work there, so I take something like this with me. It's either this or one of the next two knives coming up. But this does have screw construction, so I would class this as a modern locking knife. Anything pinned like the previous ones I would class as more of a traditional locking knife. But the pocket clip remains on this one because I tend to carry this in my back pocket if I use it, and it just clips over the back pocket here and becomes much more useful. But you can see this has the same clip point blade as the Slim, more of that modern 112 blade, but a fantastic knife. And I think they've actually discontinued these now, which is a massive shame. The next two we have are both sort of custom versions of the 112, so we'll leave that one till afterwards. Now, this is a web exclusive on the Buck USA website. Now, John at Thrifty Kniffy was very kind to pick this up for me and ship it over. This is ebony nickel silver S30V drop point blade, and doesn't that sort of elevate to something else? This is an absolute beast of a work knife. I've carried it quite a bit. S30V and the Boss heat treat. Of course, with the special shop, you get the best special shop. The web specials, you get the laser etching on the blade, which, I mean, I'd rather it was a stamp, but I understand why they do it. And then you can see the edge on there, quite a heavy edge, but with a Buck, you will always get one that is absolutely screaming sharp. And when I say sharp, I mean scary sharp. But beautiful thick blade stock on that. Is it going to be the sliciest? No. But as a work knife, superb. Beautiful ebony on there. Wonderful grip with that nickel silver, nice and weighty, not quite as weighty as the brass, but you'll know that's in your pocket or on your belt, and you don't have that sort of worry as if, you know, is it on my belt still, have I dropped it? You will know that you have that. Beautiful 112 with a drop point blade. And this is my very first custom buck. Again, John Thrifty Kniffy ordered this for me through the buck custom shop, and I picked it up when I went to Texas, and I was not disappointed. I got it with the distressed brown leather sheath, and this has nickel silver bolsters. You have the exposed pins and the finger grooves with the walnut covers and a Magna Cut blade. Now, am I ever going to need a Magna Cut blade in my day-to-day life? No. Was it an option? I went for it because it was there. Yes. But honestly, if you can get yourself a buck custom shop, just do it. They are fantastic. They really elevate the knife from something that everyone can buy to something that's very personal to you. And you can see the design isn't any different. All that's really different is the materials. So you get a much higher blade steel, you get nickel silver instead, you get finger grooves, you get walnut on this, and it's just absolutely fantastic. And I pretty much fell in love with this knife as soon as I got it out the box in Texas, and my opinion has not changed on it at all. If anything, it's made my love for the 112 more, especially with those finger grooves. They really do elevate the knife to being something that's incredibly comfortable to use and carry, as even with people of different hand sizes. Now, John and Mikey, my Upboldy's blades, have larger hands than me, and they've got or held the 112 with the finger grooves, and they say it's incredibly comfortable. But even with me, with smaller hands, it literally fits these finger grooves perfectly. And the 112, I just think, is the best knife that Buck's ever made. Now, I know there's going to be people out there that are going to disagree, but that's what it's all about. We collect what we like. Nobody's wrong. If you like other stuff, that's totally fine. But I will be doing a sort of a comparison between some Buck 110s and 112s in the future and give my sort of views on both. Now, that's all the actual 112s that are stamped 112, as in the actual ones they sell as a 112. But there is another one here I picked up in Texas, which is pretty much a 112, just with a different number. And this is the 422 EcoLite. And it's getting an honorary mention in this because if I compare it to the custom shop, so the blade is identical, the handle length is practically identical, the finger grooves are identical, the pins are going to be pretty much in the same place. I mean, it's just a slight variation they've changed the number of, but this, again, fantastic. This is from the 80s, I think. Finger grooves, perfect. It's one I've carried a lot, and I really enjoy using this one. You can see the stamp there, 422. Pinned, and a really light sort of nylon, not even nylon, I don't know what you'd call it. It's not Delrin, just like a synthetic cover, but it's fantastic. So I had to show it because it's just an absolutely beautiful knife. But I hope you sort of enjoyed the overview of my Buck 112 collection and why I think this knife is really worth the hype. You can pick up some absolutely fantastic variations of this, going from vintage models, web exclusives, full customs, or if you just want something really traditional, you can get the original. But I really hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. It really helps me grow and I can bring you more content like this. And then tap that bell to be made aware of videos when they drop. Have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.